Hello and welcome to my channel. So before I get into this week's reading, I'll be looking at the general energies and talking about the astrology of the week, I do have a couple of announcements. So first of all, I have released all of the zodiac signs for the month ahead. So for each sign, I've done a reading to look at the month of June. So if you haven't seen it yet, they are all up now on YouTube. You should be able to find them quite easily. And I've also decided to start an Instagram account. So if you want to see more of this content or different types of content going forward on Instagram, I will put a link or a handle for that in the description. But the handle is at themoonlightoracle.co. So I'd start with those before I forget, because I know I'll forget otherwise. Okay, so now that I've got that out of the way, starting with this week's astrology, looking at like what is coming up, collectively, thank you. And then I will get into a tarot reading after that. So first thing to note is that today on Monday, we have Mercury going into Gemini. So Mercury's home sign is Gemini and Virgo. It has dual rulership. So it really likes to be in Gemini. And that means we have yet another planet in Gemini. So we've got Mercury there, we've got Venus there, we've got Jupiter there, we've got the Sun there. And the moon, the new moon on Thursday, will also be in Gemini because that's what new moons are. They're when the Sun and the moon come together. So that's 5 planets in one sign. So you could sort of say this is the most Gemini of all Gemini seasons because there's just so many planets there. So there's a real emphasis on Gemini, as we've been talking about for the last few weeks, really. So I'll come to, wait, I've got so much Gemini energy, I can feel myself like trying to say 10 things at once. And I am a Gemini, so I'm feeling this so intensely. Oh my gosh. So what I was going to say is that there are lots of really nice things happening. So we've got Mercury going into Gemini, so it likes being there. So that's always quite comfortable and Mercury does well there. We've also got Mercury conjunction with Jupiter on Tuesday. I think that's tomorrow. So that means that we've got Mercury, the planet of communication, the messenger of the gods, conjoining with Jupiter, which is like abundance, optimism. And when it comes together, it really speaks of big ideas, like having big, exciting, expansive ideas. And if someone has lots of Mercury, Jupiter conjunction energy in their chart, there's someone who talks a lot with big ideas. So think of that kind of energy. So that's going to be tomorrow, and we're going to get like potentially an injection of just like exciting, big ideas. We've also got Venus doing a cazimi, which means conjunction with the Sun. So Venus coming together with the Sun. So that's on Thursday. I think it happens at the same time as new moon, which I'm going to come to in a second because that's the big one that I want to talk about. So Venus is the planet of love, beauty, pleasure. When it conjoins with the Sun amplifies all that is Venus. So it's just a really lovely like energy. Like Venus is always like really pleasant to work with. It's really just like amplifies all of our sort of pleasure and love and beauty. And it's happening at the same time as the new moon in Gemini. So new moons are often about planting seeds. Gemini in particular is the sign that is very curious, very like wants to do all of the things, is very multitasking. And sometimes the shadow side of that can be that it tries to do all the things and gets very overwhelmed and scattered. So you might be feeling this energy at the moment of feeling a little bit like pulled in several directions. But the new moon is also going to be happening with Saturn. So Saturn is going to be squaring the new moon. Now, Saturn is the planet of discipline, of structure, of order, of like I always think of Saturn as being like the daddy of the sky. That's like, that's all great, Gemini, but like, what's like, have you got a plan? Like, what's happening? Tell me, like, have you done your homework? Where are you showing up for all of these big ideas that you're having? So I know some astrologers have been a bit like, oh, Saturn's a spanner in the works, and I'm not sure, but honestly, as a Gemini, I'm quite grateful for this Saturnian energy because all of this air without grounding any of it feels like quite overwhelming. And I actually think that Saturn can be a really helpful, supportive influence here because actually we've had so much of this kind of being in the air, all of it, these sort of downloads coming in from the ethers. But you might have seen me do a video, I think it was last week, where I was talking about it's not a time to ground it. Now it feels like we're going more into grounding these ideas and big sort of inspirations that we've been getting. And I actually think that for some of you, it might feel supportive. For some of you, it might feel annoying. Like, oh, like I just want it to be fun and joyful. Like we've got Jupiter and Venus, which are like benefic and easier going planets, and then Saturn coming in to like be the party pooper. I don't feel like that, but some of you might feel that kind of energy with this new moon on Thursday. So yeah, so I would say like now is really the time to kind of like get very inspired by things and like following your curiosity. That's Gemini, and allowing this to be like a really fun, playful energy. But then Saturn's going to come in and be like, yeah, how are you turning this into reality? Like, what does that look like? Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, which again, it's very grounded. It likes a plan, it likes structure. So we've kind of got these two things, but I don't want that to take away from all of the loveliness that is happening in Gemini at the moment. And one thing I would definitely urge you to check is where Gemini sits in your birth chart. So which house it sits in, because that's where the area of that chart is going to get lots of amplification right now. So having a look out, if you're not sure what your birth chart is, you can look on astro.com and you can look there to get your birth chart and then see which house Gemini sits in, and then look up the meaning of that house. And that will tell you a bit more detail about where this is all showing up for you, and also where you might want to set intentions. So, for instance, I have my Gemini in the ninth house, and the ninth house rules like travel, it rules higher learning, it rules like philosophy. So, it might be a good time for me to set intentions around what I want to learn in a higher learning kind of way, like bigger picture, more expansive learning. Now, obviously, if you don't have Gemini in the ninth house, that's not going to connect to you necessarily. So looking at which house could be a really helpful additional thing to do if you want to really work with this new moon. And honestly, I would, because I think it's, yeah, I'll do another video on this actually, because I don't want to, this whole video is not actually about new moon in Gemini, but it's just such a big part of the week. It's really worth kind of getting into that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get into tarot reading for the week ahead to help like see what the sort of themes are, what challenges we might face, things to look forward to, and how to navigate the energy that is all of this Gemini-ness. Okay. Whew. Yeah, I can really feel like the need to ground. I'm very curious what the cards are going to say because it's flighty energy. Mutable, flexible, things changing. Like, yeah, you might feel inspired to have more change as well. Okay, well, I'll get into the reading. Okay. So, big themes coming up collectively for the week ahead. Nearly. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Okay, I've got quite a few. We've got 4 here actually. 5 because I've seen that one already, and that one wants to come out, I think. Okay. Right, 5. That was quick. So here we've got 4 of Cups. So I'll show you them first. And then we'll kind of talk through what I'm seeing here. We've also got 10 of Cups. We've got the Sun. Seeing what comes through for you intuitively. Priestess. And the Knight of Cups. So straight away, we have 3 cups here. So it's a huge emphasis on emotional well-being, particularly with this card here. So, I mean, they all speak of that. But what I'm really getting is that this week is all about focusing on what makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled. And with the Knight of Cups, it's about leading with love, leading with what fills you up, what excites you. It's not so much about like what you should do, it's more what is fulfilling for me. And I feel like this is a huge question at the moment. Like I've been seeing this a lot in readings of like focusing on new beginnings around things that are really satisfying for you and really, yeah, like around the heart, like sort of what feel like lights your heart on fire. That's no, that's not quite what I mean. Like, yeah, what sort of like fulfills you? It's really so much about fulfillment. We've got the sun here as well, which is really speaking of celebration. So again, with all this sort of like Venus, Jupiter, new moon, all in Gemini, it's all about celebrating. Gemini also knows really how to have fun and be sociable. So there might be something here about celebrating and like, but interestingly, we've also got the priestess, which would indicate that there is a need to really go inward and reflect on what actually is fulfilling for us. And this makes sense, right? Because the priestess is ruled by the moon glyph. And I feel like this is what this new moon is asking us to do, is to go inward, to reflect on what is fulfilling for us. What would a fulfilling life look like? And I think that that is what this new moon is really asking us to do, as well as, but we do need a plan, to make that happen with this Saturnian influence. Okay. So, challenges for this week ahead for those watching is what might we be feeling challenged with? Interesting. It's a bit too many cards. Let's see if one of those wants to come. Do you know what, actually? I think it is all 3 because I'm really getting a story with this. So many cards today. But I'm going to go with it. Okay. Here we've got 3 of discs, the universe, and 8 of cups. Yeah, right. Okay, this is really interesting, actually. So immediately what I'm getting, so 3 of discs speaks of discipline, right? It's actually the Mars in Capricorn card. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, which means that like Capricorn, as we've been talking about, is Saturnian influence. So Capricorn is like getting things in order, getting things done, like having a structure, having a plan, like grounding all of these ideas into reality. And Mars is the motivated, driven force. So these 2 together work really well, because when you're really driven to like take the action that is necessary in a sustainable way that doesn't sort of burn you out. So with this being a challenge, it might feel quite difficult to want to be more practical in your approach. And that makes so much sense, because with all this Gemini, it doesn't really necessarily want to be practical and realistic. And then we've also got here, and I feel like these are really speaking to each other. It might be hard to, the universe, which is the world card in traditional tarot, speaks of ending out cycles. So it might be that for some of you, and I'm feeling this a lot, honestly, is it's difficult to maybe let some things go and close out old cycles, which is reinforced by this card, because this card, the 8 of Cups, speaks of walking away from something, of leaving something behind. So for some of you, there's a few things that I'm getting with this. So for some of you, you need to walk away from something that isn't serving you, and it feels really hard to do that, and it feels like it's hard to trust it. Again, this has been a theme I've been seeing a lot recently. And my heart really goes out to you, because I'm feeling that as well. I know that I'm being asked to do bigger things, and it's like this tension between old and new, the old version and the new version, and this sort of like weird in-between space. And it might just be really hard to sort of like get a plan in place, and it feels all a bit up in the air and confusing. Yeah. Let me have a look at this and just tune into some more things, because I know there's more trying to speak to me here. what I'm really getting is that with all of this fulfillment, leading with love, and going inward kind of energy, it is really about trusting that what is truly fulfilling for you is the path. And it is time to get the plan in place and to walk away and close out old cycles that are no longer working. So how that manifests for you might be really different, like to, again, like we're talking about before, which house this sits in for you. But for some of you, it might be like about leaving relationships. It might be about leaving jobs. It might be about leaving situations that you're in. You'll know, I think it's important to say this, you'll know where this is showing up for you. Because if that resonates for you, you already know where it is. And I get it. It's really, really tricky to leave things behind. But with this new moon, it's about starting a new cycle, right? New moons are the beginning of the cycle to come. And what Gemini also is really good at is, with it being a mutable sign, it's all about change and looking and getting very, very honest with ourselves and going, what isn't working anymore? It's about looking at our lives and being like, okay, what got me here won't get me there. It's that energy. And it's about like really trusting the direction that we are being pulled towards and knowing that we are going, like, it is about not necessarily knowing what the next steps are, but trusting that it's safe. Because for some of you, it feels like it doesn't feel safe. And that's what I'm hearing, is like, it is safe. It is also safe to say no. It is safe to, follow what your inner guidance is telling you. All serious all of a sudden, isn't it? Saturn for you. Okay, something to look forward to. Interesting. Okay, here we have adjustment, more balance being brought back in this week. Because again, it feels like, this card is ruled by Libra, because that's the Libra glyph there. And it feels like there's much needed balance coming in this week if things have felt really sort of, just full on, but like you've neglected a certain area. And by the looks of it, it's neglected the area of fulfillment. Like maybe you have been fulfilling lots of obligations and duties, and now it's like, okay, what fulfills you? Making the necessary adjustments. So much about making adjustments. Like that is one thing again that Gemini is really good with, is like change and flexibility and like, where are things not working anymore? Like what can I bring in? And like being willing to sort of like throw everything up in the air and do something completely new and start afresh. Guidance, please, for the week ahead for those watching. Gosh. Again, there's just so many there. Guidance for those watching, please. One card. Yeah. Okay. Queen of Swords energy. Get clear on what matters to you. Getting very clear. It's all about, discernment. Discerning what is working. Like it's like, and this is also a bit Saturn as well, actually. Like Saturn is all about discernment. So making a judgment call on what is like, sorry, it's hard to articulate. So what I'm hearing is that a decision needs to be made. And this is also Saturn's influence of like, because the other thing with Gemini is that because there's so much going on, it could be like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. So many options creates all this overwhelm. And it's like, make a decision, discern like what it is that actually matters to you, that actually is fulfilling for you. I know I keep repeating that, but it's because we've got the Sun, Satiety, Knight of Cups. Like there's so much here, and luxury as well. Sorry, I keep forgetting this card. Again, like Four of Cups, what is like almost being too full with satisfaction is what that card speaks of. So yeah, like a decision needs to be made this week. Some of you'll really know what I'm talking about. That's going to really resonate, and you're going to be like, I need to like get clear and make a plan and stop like with all of the like the energy feels also kind of like you've got so many options that it can then lead to just like not doing anything. And it's like, that's just take action on one of them and don't worry if it's like the perfect thing, because that could be the thing that sort of stops you from then taking action. Just like go towards the right next step, take the baby step, start the new thing, like create the new intentions of what this new cycle is going to look like for you, and answer some of those questions. I might on nearer the time when we do the new reading sort of actually go through some prompts that you could do as well to support this sort of transit. And if you would like that, leave that in the comments below. But yeah, I think actually no, sorry, I'm going to do another little bit more guidance from the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell, just for a little bit of extra guidance for this week ahead. For those watching, please. A bit more guidance this week. Ooh, okay. Thank you. I'll show you them in a second. Yeah. One more card, please. Interesting. Okay. That card has winked at me twice now, so I'm going to pull that out as well, because that feels important. We might have 5 cards again. Jeez, so many cards. It's going to be quite a long reading. Okay, so first one that came out, the 7 Star Sisters, Birthing Creations, Tapestry of Life, Expression. Yeah, so new moon, it's about what do you want to bring into this new cycle? What is it that you're birthing into the new, and getting all the inspiration, grounding it into action, grounding it into a plan and taking action. We've also got here, which is lovely, surrender to the sweetness, Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. So yeah, so like with this Venus Cazimi, it's like it's really asking us to also like look around and just like enjoy all of that is here. I know we've not talked so much about that particular transit just because there's so many things happening. And remembering to enjoy what is already here, to celebrate. We've got the sun here as well. There is something here about really celebrating the joy that is already here. But then we've got this karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Yeah. So again, it's this, it does feel like this push and pull energy. Like on the one hand, it's like, go ahead, follow what lights you up, surrender to the sweetness. And it's going to push you to make decisions that might be tough to make. There is this sort of, duality going on here. But the guidance is really about leading with love. Keep saying that, leading with love, leading with what fulfills you. but it doesn't feel like it's going to be an easy decision. It doesn't feel easy. It feels like it's going to create some inner conflict potentially. So yeah, okay. And then this is the one that kept winking at me. Activated earth, power places, ley lines, trust where you're led. Trust where you're led. That's really the thing that feels like the key here. Trusting the nudges that you are getting. It's like, you know, let's say, for example, you keep seeing something, like something keeps showing up. You keep seeing a phrase, you keep hearing a song, you keep, you know, all the signs of synchronicity, like follow those nudges is really what I'm getting with this. So like, you know, if let's say, for example, like you keep seeing, I really struggle to think of an example now. I don't know, like let's say you see adverts for like breath work and you're like, that keeps showing up. And then you're like, that's the direction that I need to go in. It's like trusting where you're led. It's that sort of thing, rather than going like, oh no, that's silly. I can't do that. Or whatever, that's just a coincidence. Like no such thing as a coincidence. In my opinion, I really don't think there is. I think there's synchronicity, not coincidences. So trusting that and going down the rabbit holes, that's what, again, Gemini is all about. Following curiosity, going down the rabbit hole, allowing yourself to absorb all of this sort of inspiration that you're receiving through the signs and synchronicities. And then finally, we've got this again. I say again because it's really similar to a card we've got already, which is all paths lead home, inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. Trusting yourself. Trust yourself. Listen to what you know to be true. I would say, just as a suggestion, that breath work is an amazing way to access your own intuition. And it's also a very Gemini way of doing it, because Gemini rules the lungs, which is breathing. So breath work as a way to kind of enter into a more relaxed state so that you can actually hear the guidance that is trying to call at you and knock on your door. Oof, okay, so I think that is everything for this reading. Like I said at the beginning, if you want your own sign reading, check out the videos that I've already posted. Check your sun, moon, and rising for the month of June to get some more depth that's more specific to your sign. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, liking the video itself lets me know that you're enjoying it. It really supports the channel as well. Commenting also really helps. If you're not sure what to comment, just leave an emoji, your favorite emoji. And yeah, anything that you feel you want to share. I always love having conversations with you guys in the comments. And if you're not already a subscriber here, clicking subscribe will get you more content on your page. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all on the next one. Mwah! Bye.